This isn't fair. This is pain that you can't put into words because it's just not real. I truly believe that if he had to go, this was the only honorable way for it to happen.
They say time heals all wounds.
That's just me and Dad. That's just our relationship right there. Like, that just sums up everything.
The healing process for those who knew Sergeant Scott Lunger is ongoing. On a sunny October morning, 3 months after his end of watch, friends and family walked to remember their fallen hero. A man best described by one word.
Warrior is definitely the one that comes to mind.
Scott personified the warrior spirit.
Scott was a true warrior.
Sports were always a part of Sergeant Lunger's life, but baseball held a special place in his heart.
He loved baseball. There was finally one time when I was like, we're really going to another game?
We would go to the A's game and I would go there and watch it because I wanted to be with him.
Sergeant Lunger's passion for baseball led him to play with a men's senior league team, the Tri-Valley A's.
A place where old guys can go out there and pretend like you're teenagers or kids. That's the way we looked at it.
Scott had a mojo. We call it, in baseball, we call it a mojo. You know, and that's a gift. Not many people have that.
He would work like a Saturday night mid-shift. He would just sleep in his car for a couple hours, show up for the game, play, and then if he had to work that Sunday night, he would sleep for a couple hours and go back to work.
Scott worked the graveyard shift to have his afternoons free so he can volunteer as a softball coach at Freedom High School.
To me, it's one of the ways you can give back to your community.
It meant a lot. He took away his time from his family to be out here and to work with us and make us better people and better players.
He had the magic. Before every game, he had the pregame talk, and he's the person that took control of things. And I really looked up for him to that, and and the girls respected him very much for it.
When the bats and balls were away, Lunger was a larger-than-life sergeant with the Hayward Police Department.
He did everything he could. He turned kids' lives around. He helped keep areas safer. He put himself out there because his job was to make the world a better place.
Shots fired. White Chevy Estor, Chevy Silverado truck. He's still going. They fired my partner down.
Police officers ambushed and killed in Hayward. The deadly stop happened early this morning.
A white Chevy Silverado truck swerving. As he approached the driver's side window of that truck, the suspect opened fire without warning.
We lost a warrior today.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. I had to call Ashton first.
And he was like, Ashton, where are you? And I said, in my room, tell me. And my Aunt Shay tried to talk and she just couldn't. And I just heard my Uncle Mike go, Ashton, your dad was shot. He was shot multiple times. And I'm sorry he didn't make it.
Just the screams and cries on the other side. And that broke my heart more than anything.
Just kept saying, no, it's not Dad. Not Dad, it's someone else. And he was like, it is. And I'm sorry. You know how much he loved you. And your dad was a great man. And he did what he had to do. And didn't know what to do. I just kept wanting to hang up and call my dad. I just needed to call him because that's what I did. Something's wrong, I called Dad.
My uncle got on the phone. She's Sarah, like, your dad's. He just said, your dad, and like, I knew. And then I broke, like, it just said, like, no. Like, no, like, it's, like, no, it can't be real. And I called my sister. We just sat on the phone and cried. You don't ever think you're gonna get that call, you know?
A senseless act of violence took Sergeant Lunger's life at just 48 years old.
Why would somebody do something like this, you know, to take someone's life?
How could somebody be so selfish to take away my dad? How could someone take my dad from me?
4 days later, the Tri-Valley A's were scheduled to play a game. Grief aside, taking the field was the only option.
If we didn't play the game, he more than likely would have kicked my ass, you know, or gave me a piece of his mind.
I told the entire team, I said, it was hard for me to come here today. I really just didn't feel motivated to go. I know Scott he'd want us to play. And I felt I owed him that.
Along with the pain of losing Scott comes the reality of life without him.
Sometimes I forget, like I want to call him, so it's hard.
Who's gonna walk me down the aisle? Who are my kids gonna call Papa? Like who am I gonna be able to like spend those moments with? Like, I don't have anybody to call Dad.
2 weeks after his death, Sergeant Lunger was honored by his favorite baseball team in a place where he spent so many days and nights with loved ones.
The Oakville Athletics Organization would like to honor the memory of one of our biggest fans.
A's were our lives, like we talk about it all the time. So for them to do something like that was just...
The whole time we were there, I was just thinking, like, my dad is, like, loving this. Like, he's loving all this attention that he's getting.
It was just awesome to see, like, how generous and how supportive they are. They're not baseball players to me anymore. They're, like, an extended family now that's, like, always there. Like, now I feel like I'm watching another family member play. I'm not watching the A's play.
Baseball is more than just a game. More than balls and strikes. More than wins and losses. It's a bond amongst friends.
Part of going on Sundays was, you know, I got to hang out with Scott away from him. We didn't talk about work stuff, we just talked about baseball, and it's not there.
It's a way to give back. A vehicle to change lives.
He would help me become a better person, just being around him.
A way for brothers to bond. And a dad to connect with his daughters.
So when he's not wearing his uniform,
he's wearing A's. That's it.
Now, more than anything, it's a way for a family to remember their warrior.
I always sit there and I'm like, oh, God, I need to call Dad. That was an awful play. Or like I'll call him and be like, oh my God, do you see that pitch? That was crazy. And like, but I always just sit there and like, I talk to him in my head.
It comes back to when we were playing baseball when we were little, you know. I think about him anytime I see an A's game that comes on. He'll always be on my mind and he'll always be in my heart.
I'll miss you more than I can ever put into words. I love you, Dad. Thanks for being everything a little girl needed in a warrior. Rest easy.